It's here and I got it. Airbnb's IPO filing is finally released. Today I'll give you some of the major details of the filing as the company continues its march toward going public. So stay tuned. Welcome to Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, the channel that's evolved to talk about all the big and not so big companies going public, whether it's by traditional IPO, a SPAC, or direct listing. And today we have a big one, Airbnb. You know it's a big one when a company's name becomes a household name for the product or service itself. Like Coke is the cola, Google is the search, and as Airbnb is the vacation rentals. What would be great is if you let me know in the comments if you're all in on buying the stock no matter what, or if you're still deciding if it's for you. Just type in yes, no, or maybe. I always like to know what you guys are thinking. And one more thing, if you're a host for Airbnb and looking to invest in the company, let us know that too. I think that would be a strong recommendation from those of you who know more about how the company operates firsthand. And as you're typing in your answers, as always, I want to thank everyone in the community for your fantastic support of me and the channel. And for those of you new here, my name is Kevin, and I'm going to welcome you to the channel for the first time. If you end up enjoying this video and want to see more on Airbnb and other big IPOs like DoorDash, who we just started to cover last week after they filed their IPO, we'd love to have you join our community. It's totally free, you just got to press that little red subscribe button. So today, our focus is on looking at the details of Airbnb that have come directly from the company itself, and that comes right from their S-1, or what we call the IPO filing. We'll talk about the highlights of the filing, including the major considerations of investing in Airbnb during a life-altering pandemic, and we'll do that by looking at the financials and key metrics of the company and how they've been impacted by the virus, so stay tuned for that. This video will be one in a series of videos on Airbnb that I'll have for you that will get you ready for when the company begins to trade, which likely begins next month. And I know you want to hear the exact date, but we don't have that yet. That's why you have to stay tuned. These series of videos will be similar to what we did for other big names like Palantir and Snowflake. I'll tell you up front that I haven't decided on if I will invest in the company myself yet, so these series of videos will be my journey on coming to a conclusion. So I welcome you to come along with me. Our upcoming videos will cover addendums to the initial filing, taking a deeper look at the business, pricing expectations and valuations, and of course, the day it will start trading publicly. Plus, I'll share my own thoughts and analysis on the stock as we work through all of the information. And I'll share that final analysis in a comprehensive video right before it hits the market. So definitely have your notification bell turned on so you don't miss any of those videos as soon as they come out. But like you, I'm just getting that first look of the data from the filing, so this is where we need to start in today's video. So let's dive into it. Right off the bat, in the introduction of the filing, I learned why it's called Airbnb. I actually didn't know what the Air part was about. And for those of you who don't know either, it's because back in 2007, the founders decided to rent out airbeds in their San Francisco apartment to help pay their rent. Airbeds. Yep, I have no idea why I didn't figure that one out. Anyway, as their creation story goes, they came up with this idea when an international design conference was coming to town and every hotel was sold out. So they created a website, airbedandbreakfast.com, and booked their first guests. And apparently what ended up really making the concept work was treating their guests like they were old friends from out of town and giving them a tailored experience to what the city was all about. The second part to making it work was figuring out how to make strangers feel comfortable enough to stay in each other's homes. That's the part that would have made me say, this isn't going to work. But to the founders' credit, they devised a solution with an online platform that combined host and guest profiles, integrated messaging, two-way reviews, and secure payments. And so here we are today. I don't know about you, but I'm always both inspired when I hear the background of how companies are started and yet frustrated that I didn't think of it first. Anyway, needless to say, the idea of Airbnb caught on. As of September 30th, the company reports to having had over 4 million hosts around the world in over 220 countries, with 86% of those hosts being located outside of the United States. Hosts have had 7.4 million available listings of homes through September, of which 5.6 million were active listings. And then from a guest perspective, for 2019, 54 million active bookers worldwide booked 327 million nights and experiences on their platform, with 69% of their revenue being generated by stays from repeat guests. And going back to their founding, the company reports that there have been over 825 million total guest arrivals on Airbnb. So if you're like me and have never hosted with Airbnb, you might be wondering how it works, such as how much money do the hosts keep and how much does Airbnb get? Well, the filing provides us that answer through an example. I've put up a screenshot that shows an example of how much money Airbnb makes from a $100 booking. To the host, Airbnb charges a 3% fee, and on the guest side, they're charged a guest fee that, according to the company, can vary depending on different factors, such as booking duration or geography. From this example, you can see that from a $100 booking, Airbnb makes $15, $3 from the host, and $12 from the guest. And that fee covers things like payment processing, scheduling, and other support services. So as a potential investor, this was helpful for me to get a better idea of how they make money with their business. So now that we're talking some money, let's take a look at the financials. But before we do, I want to ask you for a favor, and that is to please press that like button if you're enjoying the video. It really helps the channel get more exposure on YouTube and lets me know that this is the kind of videos you want more of. So thanks. Okay, to the financials. On the revenue side, looking at their last full years of reporting ending on December 31st, revenue grew to just over $4.8 billion in 2019, up 32% from 2018. Of course, these time periods don't include the effects of the pandemic, so looking at the last two columns on your screen, we can compare the first 9 months of this year, ending on September 30th, where we see the significant impact. For 2020, revenue was down 32% from about $3.7 billion to $2.5 billion. What's also striking, if not expected, is how their net loss more than doubled in that same time frame. Now, net losses are nothing new to the company, as they've had a loss for every year since their inception. However, you can see how the pandemic really hit them hard when looking at the year-over-year numbers. Diving further into their numbers, we can look at two of their key metrics, nights and experiences booked and gross booking value, which is defined as the dollar value of bookings on their platform in a period that is inclusive of host earnings, service fees, cleaning fees, and taxes. From this screenshot, you can see the positive trend in the growth of bookings from 2017 to 2019, a growth of about 175%. And you see similar growth in the gross booking value metric. But then again, those last two columns show the effect of the pandemic, where bookings in the first 9 months of this year were down about 59%. So that's not good, but considering what we've all gone through with this pandemic, we knew it would be down. This just tells us by how much. Now, we've heard that there's been a recovery within those 9 months, particularly from May onwards. So Airbnb gave us a chart on this as well. During those initial months of the recovery, Airbnb saw some trends in how bookings were different than in years past. In that domestic travel was recovering quicker than international travel, that travel destinations were stronger within 50 miles of the guest's home, that stays were longer, perhaps driven by more work-at-home situations, and that travel outside of the top 20 cities booked in 2019 was higher than for bookings inside those cities, as people look to stay away from high-density areas. Now, what's interesting to me is that there was a very tangible recovery in bookings through July, where they recovered from 8.7 million bookings in April to 28.3 million, but then as you can see on your screen, the numbers start to drop again, with 26 million bookings in August and then just 23.9 million in September. And with the surge of infections in the fourth quarter, it's likely that these numbers will continue to go down. So we can expect some more drops in revenue, which obviously isn't optimal as Airbnb heads into their IPO. In fact, the company is already projecting to expect greater year-over-year decline in nights and experiences booked and gross booking value in the fourth quarter of 2020 than in the third quarter, and greater year-over-year increases in cancellations and alterations in the fourth quarter versus the third quarter. These vaccines really can't make it to the market fast enough. Going forward, the company still sees a big market opportunity available to them. They estimate their total addressable market to be $3.4 trillion, including $1.8 trillion for short-term stays, $210 billion for long-term stays, and $1.4 trillion for experiences. They do note that they're still using their 2019 data in their analysis, feeling that once the pandemic is past us, that those numbers will be the best representation of their long-term travel opportunity. Obviously, within that market opportunity, they don't have it all to themselves, as they will have some competition from online travel agencies and companies like Vrbo and HomeAway. They also count the traditional hotel chains and other listing sites as competitors, which makes sense, even though the experiences that they are offering are generally very different. With the data Airbnb is letting us see, they're hoping that investors will come to the conclusion that they have a solid business that, while it's been hurt by the pandemic, that they have the model and market to succeed. Hopefully, the way I laid out this information in the video helps you understand the numbers better and lets you come up with some conclusions as to if Airbnb makes sense to invest in for you. Just a couple more important things to share from the filing. One is that right now, we don't have any idea what the offering size will be, what the anticipated pricing will be, or when the IPO itself will actually happen. Those will come in amended filings, which I'll be sure to keep you updated. But what we do know is that when it does start to trade, we know how to find it. Airbnb will be listed on the NASDAQ under the symbol ABNB. We're still a bit away from the IPO date, but now that the filing has been submitted, we're getting close. It really should be sometime in early December. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'll make sure to keep you up to date as more information comes out by releasing more videos on Airbnb and share some of my own personal thoughts about the company right before trading begins. I know I can count on my subscribers to stay informed and share updates in the comments, because after all, that's what the community is all about. You learning from me learning from you, and all of us learning from each other. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and if you did, please remember to like it and share with your friends, or even share the link to your social media sites. After all, the more we grow, the more we can and will do here. And if you're not part of the community, well, that's on you, because we'd love to have you on board. And once you're in, you'll be sure to keep up on all the upcoming IPOs by watching our weekly featured show, IPO This Week, as well as the more analytical videos that I put out on some of the companies that investors have a lot of interest in, such as Airbnb. I know I'm biased, but I think this channel is a combination of the best and most concise way to stay up on all the companies going public without me trying to sell or push anyone on a company. And I'm always working to try and make it better, so hang in there with me. But for now, let's wrap it here. Thank you for watching, and until next time, have a great day.